The phone vibrated on the cracked kitchen table at exactly 2:17 a.m., shattering the silence of a small apartment where fear had already been holding its breath for hours, and in that single moment, a child's desperate mistake began a chain of events that would change several lives forever, because the message that flashed on the screen was never meant for the man who read it. Yet he would become the reason a little girl and her mother survived the darkest night of their lives. Before the story pulls you any deeper, pause for just a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and people showing up when it matters most, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs hope today, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this remind us how powerful one good heart can be in a broken world. 6-year-old Lily Anderson had learned early how to stay quiet. Silence was something she practiced the way other children practiced spelling or counting. She knew how to breathe softly, how to step around broken toys without making noise, and how to hold her tears until they burned her eyes, because noise made things worse. That night, she sat on the floor of her bedroom clutching her mother's old phone with both hands, her small fingers shaking as she typed the only word she could think of after watching her stepfather shove her mother into the wall hard enough to snap bone. Her mother, Emily Anderson, lay on the couch unconscious, her arm twisted at an angle Lily knew was wrong, her face pale and streaked with blood from where she had hit the corner of a shelf. Lily had seen anger before, but she had never seen it end like this. Emily had taught Lily one thing very clearly. If something bad ever happened, text Aunt Sarah. The number was written on a piece of paper taped inside a kitchen drawer. But Lily couldn't read numbers very well yet, and in her panic, she hit the wrong contact, a number saved months ago when Emily borrowed a phone at a gas station after her car broke down. Lily didn't know whose number it was. She just typed the truth with hands wet from tears and hit send, believing she had done all she could. Then she crawled under her bed and waited, listening to the heavy silence after violence, the kind that makes a child feel like the world might never breathe again. Hundreds of miles away, Marcus Hale was sitting on his motorcycle in a deserted parking lot, helmet resting on the ground beside him, staring at the phone in his hand as it buzzed with a message he didn't expect. Marcus was a biker in every way people feared. Thick beard, scar running down his cheek, heavy boots, leather vest covered in patches from a past that had seen too much road and too much regret. He had lost his own family years ago in a crash caused by a drunk driver, and since then, his nights were filled with long rides and longer silences. When he opened the message and read the words typed in panic by a child, something deep in his chest cracked open. He could tell immediately this wasn't a prank. There was no slang, no emoji, no exaggeration. Just raw fear. The kind that came from someone who didn't know what else to do. Marcus didn't hesitate. He didn't question why a child had his number or whether it was his responsibility. Some things in life don't ask permission, and this was one of them. He responded simply, telling her he was coming, then traced the location Lily had accidentally shared when she sent the message. The address was in a rundown complex known for trouble, the kind of place police visited too late and neighbors learned not to interfere. Marcus pulled on his helmet, started the engine, and felt the familiar vibration beneath him, but this time it wasn't escape driving him forward. It was purpose. Back in the apartment, Lily waited until her phone vibrated again. She didn't understand the message completely, but she understood enough to feel a small flicker of hope. Someone was coming. She crawled out from under the bed and sat beside her mother, pressing her tiny hand against Emily's cold cheek, whispering that help was on the way even though she wasn't sure what help looked like. Minutes felt like hours as the hallway outside filled with distant sounds of doors slamming and voices echoing, each noise making Lily flinch, terrified her stepfather might return. Emily groaned softly, her body trying to wake while her mind stayed lost, and Lily did her best to keep her mother still, remembering something she once saw on television about broken bones. Marcus arrived faster than anyone should have been able to, the sound of his motorcycle cutting through the night like a promise. He parked near the building and followed the dimly lit hallway to the apartment number, his instincts sharp, his past preparing him for what he might find. When he knocked and called out gently, Lily froze, fear surging again, but something in his voice carried steadiness, not anger. She opened the door slowly, revealing a little girl with tear-streaked cheeks standing barefoot on cold tile, and behind her, a woman broken and bleeding. Marcus immediately assessed the situation, calling for emergency services while keeping his voice calm and his movements slow so he wouldn't frighten Lily. He stayed with them until help arrived, positioning himself between the door and the living room as if his body alone could keep danger away. When the paramedics finally rushed in, they found Emily alive but in serious condition, and Lily clinging to Marcus's leather vest like it was the only solid thing left in her world. Emily woke up in the hospital hours later, confused and in pain, her arm immobilized, her head throbbing. She expected to see doctors, maybe a social worker, maybe no one at all. Instead, she saw a biker sitting quietly in a chair by the window, his helmet resting on the floor, Lily asleep against his side. Fear flickered in her chest for half a second, shaped by every stereotype she'd ever been taught, but it faded when she saw how gently Marcus adjusted Lily's blanket when she shifted in her sleep. The nurse explained everything, including how a wrong number had become the right miracle. Recovery was slow and heavy. Emily faced legal battles, protective orders, and the terrifying uncertainty of starting over with nothing but hospital bills and trauma. Lily struggled with nightmares, waking up screaming, afraid of footsteps that weren't there. Marcus didn't disappear after that night. He checked in, helped Emily find resources, and eventually, when pride gave way to exhaustion, helped them move into a small safer place. He never asked for recognition. He never spoke about being a hero. He simply showed up, again and again, fixing what he could and standing guard over what he couldn't. Over time, the walls around Emily's heart softened. She learned that Marcus volunteered with at-risk youth, that the scars on his body marked survival rather than violence, and that the rough exterior was armor forged from loss. Lily stopped flinching around him first, laughing when he taught her how to draw butterflies and promising she would ride a motorcycle one day when she was big and brave. The three of them formed something unexpected, not a perfect family, but a safe one, built from broken pieces that fit together because they chose to. Years later, Emily would say that the worst night of her life led her to the best lesson she ever learned, that help doesn't always look the way you expect and angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they have engines, scars, and a phone that rings at exactly the right moment. That if this story is touching something deep inside you right now, if it's reminding you of pain you survived or hope you still believe in, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel, because your engagement helps stories like this reach hearts that may feel alone tonight. And before we end, please comment below and tell us whether you believe one moment of courage can truly change a life, because your words might be the hope someone else is searching for. The night Lily sent that message didn't just save her mother's life. It reshaped futures, proving that even when the world feels cruel and careless, one wrong number, one brave heart, and one decision to show up can turn fear into family and darkness into something that finally, quietly, learns how to heal.